Our next
Thank you.
startup that we would like to introduce is FarEye. And FarEye differentiates your brand by ensuring a world-class customer delivery experience with real-time end-to-end predictive visibility. So super important in the times of COVID. So thanks so much. And we're off with FarEye.
Hello, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Paul Greifenberger. I'm president of FarEye for the Americas, and today's topic is how logistics software innovation can help drive your business even in a highly disrupted market. First, the FarEye Vision. Our technology platform and the cutting edge technology it's leveraging is designed to help create the perfect delivery while simultaneously reducing the logistics cost. It's a big acknowledgement that logistics is equally important in both the front and the back office. We recognize that when the customer delivery experience shines, your brand shines, and that drives both top and bottom line opportunity. And the opportunity's never been larger. As home delivery rapidly expands, the delivery experience and your brand's perception are now intrinsically entwined to levels we've never seen in the past. We know this because we've been working with customers for many years, and you can see that we work with market leaders around the world. I also want to point out that FarEye has recently concluded or successfully closed on its Series D round of funding, which means that we've got great customers, we're well funded, and poised for future growth. Let's jump into the solution by first articulating a building block that's important for each of the three solutions you see on the right-hand side of the screen. Each of those solutions are powered by what we call real-time analytics. What does that mean? It means that you're able to visualize your supply chain's performance on a minute-by-minute basis. We do this by taking IoT devices and sensors and tying it to all transportation modes, conveyance throughout the world. Every transaction is tracked, which means that our customers are able to see all of their direct-to-consumer and business-to-business shipments on a 24/7, minute-by-minute basis. And when that happens, you can improve supply chain performance, reduce costs, and ultimately delight your customer. Let's talk to begin with about Hyperlocal and how visibility is a core building block for this end of the solution. To begin with, Hyperlocal is what we call an unscheduled delivery. Domino's Pizza will be the customer example. And when an order comes into Domino's, they're committed to getting you that pizza in 30 minutes or less. How does FarEye help? We're literally automating the dispatch process. We know the geospatial location of each driver, the demand profiles of each potential store that could satisfy the order. And that means that the system can instantaneously pick the optimal driver, the optimal store, accelerate the delivery time, and ultimately delight the customer. You'll see more examples of the benefits that Domino's has been realizing for years in the lower left portion of this slide. Let's change gears now and move on to last mile delivery, which is actually a planned delivery function. It begins by optimizing driver routes. So a dispatcher is going to use a mathematical algorithm embedded in the FarEye solution to make sure that each driver is able to deliver more than they had in the past before they used FarEye. This is a major improvement from a cost perspective for those who are in the delivery business. And it also is just the starting point, because when a driver gets out on the road, plans typically change, and that driver needs to be able to re-optimize. So we give the driver an app that they use in their vehicle. They can re-optimize as new drop-offs or pickups are specified. With one press of a button, they are dynamically and instantaneously re-optimized. Additionally, the driver uses the same app to communicate with the customer so that the customer can have a powerful, personalized delivery experience that reflects positively on your brand. There are many ways to create this, and just to give some examples, to begin with, through the FarEye application, the customer is able to see the status of the delivery while it's in motion, which is as it's moving toward its final destination, which adds confidence that the delivery can be successfully made. as planned. Customers are also able to specify unique delivery instructions, safety protocols, to change and reschedule planned deliveries, and many more. The benefits are numerous. The impact to your brand is important. And you can see more examples of typical benefits we've been realizing across our customer base on the lower left portion of this screen. Okay, we have covered hyperlocal and then planned last mile visibility. We're now going to widen the aperture and look at what we could commonly call long haul delivery powered by visibility. As I noted earlier, FarEye is tracking all global conveyance on a minute by minute basis. It's a lot of data. In order to understand how your supply chain is performing, you need to have an easily digested single view of what's happening on a minute by minute basis in your supply chain. We call this the single pane of glass. And it's really just the starting point, but it's important because we recognize if you can't see it, you can't manage it. The next step in this journey is to understand that when a shipment is at risk of being late, that we understand the granular notion of which customer orders will be impacted. I think a customer example might bring this to life, and I'll use Hilti as an example. Hilti provides construction equipment to construction job sites. In the past, when Hilti was perhaps late on a delivery, they would collaborate with construction site supervisors, typically on the phone. It was slow, it was expensive, and quite suboptimal. Today, the paradigm shift is that Hilti and the downstream construction site supervisors can all see through the FarEye system the minute-to-minute status of a delivery in motion. This means that the downstream customer is confident that their job site work will successfully continue, and Hilti customer service is able to proactively get in front of delivery challenges so that they can either expedite an order, source inventory from another location, or at a minimum, communicate to the customer. We are just about out of time. You can see more benefits on the left-hand corner of the slide. And the closing note is that for all industries, the benefits are powerful. The objectives tend to be unique, not just by industry, but by customer. I wish we had more time to spend today, but I'm going to wrap things up with questions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Great, thanks, Paul. So a couple of questions. One is, what are the top investment areas for global supply chain organizations, and how is FarEye expanding in this ecosystem?
Thank you, Connie. It's a pleasure to be here. Basically, there's the huge surge in demand for home delivery is here to stay, and keeping up with demand is definitely taking precedent. There are a number of ways to improve performance. Embedded in our tools are, for example, the notion of how do I add drivers? So we have driver crowdsourcing, which is a very modern approach to adding to your stable of drivers. We're also looking to improve both asset and driver utilization. Fundamentally, they used to be viewed as a method to reduce cost, and that's still relevant. However, the crux now is to help avoid investing in the next truck, the next asset, in order to meet demand as demand continues to surge.
Yes, as we know, it is getting packages delivered here all the time. So anyway, let me ask you, which do you like to become, service provider or platformer?
Yeah, we're a technology service provider. The notion is to embed technology into the delivery process, both for direct to consumer and business to business, in order to reduce costs as well as really improve the customer delivery service. So that's the crux of it. However, we have put our toe in the water in terms of not just bringing the technology, but also bringing a network of shippers and drivers to the equation, so that again we can help the surge in demand for both business to business and direct to consumer.
Great. Which part does FarEye develop? The IoT sensors, the back-end software, et cetera, or how and how easy is it to integrate into existing systems?
Yeah, so we're not a hardware provider at all. We integrate across IoT devices and sensors as they're often partners. And if you have IoT sensors, IoT devices or sensors that we haven't yet integrated with, it's quite easy to add to the collection of those that we integrate with to enable the visibility.
Okay, great. And lastly, what's the role of real-time transportation visibility technology in handling logistics challenges?
Yeah, so there's, it's both direct to consumer and business to business. For direct to consumer, the customer experience and your ability to privately brand the delivery is important because it reflects on all the work that's gone into whatever you manufacture or sell as a solution. From a business to business perspective, visibility fundamentally enables those to stop throwing inefficient money at the customer service level challenge. So for example, Walmart right now has instituted enormous penalties, and the industry is following for deliveries that are not on time or in full. So the ability to avoid those penalties by not just throwing increased inventory and increased delivery assets at the challenge, but providing visibility is an efficient and low cost method to ensure customer service levels while reducing cost.
Well, great. Thank you. We know that this is an important piece of what we're all dealing with COVID is getting our stuff to our home. So thank you for being part of that journey.